Hello, all you sources of infinite mushrooms hidden precisely at this point in the map. I want to talk about the Elden DLC today. You see, I bought it basically on release, and so far it's been fantastic, and also an extreme disappointment. I've basically played through all of it, and about 80% of it is good, but that 20% does sting a lot, and I want to talk about that. Now, I won't be talking about some of the other issues like Bale, the oversized chicken, or Reala, who for some reason is 10 times stronger than her sister, who is supposed to be stronger because fuck it, everyone has to have a nuke combo. Now I want to talk about the final boss of the DLC, because the final boss in Souls games, and especially in their DLCs, has always been very, very important for how people perceive their DLCs, because most of the time it's the best boss in the entirety of the, not just DLC, but the base game as well. If you ask anyone, and they say that their favorite boss is from Dark Souls 2, they're probably going to say it's one of these guys. And that's not even mentioning Gale exists, who is my favorite boss of all time. So all I'm saying is, this DLC had a lot to live up to, and while the overworld, in my opinion, lived up to what Elden Ring base game should have been, the bosses did not, and this final boss is just a travesty in all aspects. Now, if you just want to hear about the gameplay fuckery, then I would recommend skipping to this timestamp. I am going to start with arguably the even worse section, which is the lore, because this boss fight effectively ruins the lore of one of the most important characters to the lore, one of the most liked characters in the lore, and Millennia as well, who is, I guess, just there because if you like Millennia, you're lying and you're just trying to be special, so stop that. Now, you might ask, how does this ruin any of them? Well, let's start with Radahn and Millennia, which might sound weird, but it starts really far back. You know, originally we didn't know why they went to war with. Now it's basically revealed that the reason Millennia and Radahn fought is because Radahn wanted to fight Millennia, and for that he made the promise that he would marry Miquella, which we'll get to that portion. Oh boy, we'll get to that portion. But the other side of the argument is effectively Millennia and Radahn would fight. Now, this explains why their battle took place in such an out-of-the-way area of Caelid, but that also makes both of them both horrendous monsters, complete idiots, and just barbarians, I gotta be honest. For one, both Radahn and Millennia effectively sent armies to their death. Not just highly trained armies, but armies of people who trusted them with their lives, who looked at them as gods, not just demigods, gods, and they just sent them at each other to die by probably the thousands, just for effectively a play fight. And I haven't heard anyone point that out, but they just effectively destroys both of their characters right then and there. Like, how are they any better than Marika, who uses people when they're willing to fucking just kill their own men for literally no gain? Not to mention, this also hurts Millennia even more, because if it was a fight to the death between Radahn and Millennia, then I can understand Millennia being like, fuck shit, I don't wanna die, I'm gonna use my fucking strongest move, which nukes the fucking planet. But here, it's effectively, she used a nuke because she was losing the play fight. Really? Not only are you going to curse Radahn, obviously he's going to die eventually and then his soul is taken, but whatever the fuck. Not only are you going to curse your brother to hundreds, if not thousands of years of torment as a half-alive zombie, but you're also going to turn entirety of a giant fucking thriving region into shambles. You're going to ruin multiple towns and kill thousands of people and rot them to the core because you were losing a play fight. Wow. So yeah, Millennia is an even worse character now, thanks FromSoft. And Radahn, oh my god. So, okay, we've already talked about the Millennia portion of why Radahn sucks now. Secondly, first off with Radahn, no, it shouldn't have been Radahn who we were fighting. Bringing Radahn back doesn't do anything, because for one, boss fights at the end of DLCs have always been some random guy we haven't heard about, and while that's weird, it avoids the problem that Star Wars is running into, where every bad guy is just Palpatine in a different hat. By having continuous new enemies come into the fucking picture, you get an extended cast and the world becomes more vibrant. By just recycling fucking Radahn again, you shrink that roster by a significant margin, because if it's not someone else, okay, Miquella. The reason why Miquella would have been a much better boss fight than Radahn is because we have no fucking clue what he would have looked like. Like, think about it. A character who doesn't specialize in any form of combat, puts people to sleep and that's all he does, which is conflict avoidance, and has no established weapon or fighting style. You could do so fucking much and so much cool shit with Miquella, and they just fucking didn't. They just made Radahn again, and he's so fucking bad, but we'll get to the combat section. I'll also talk about what they should have done as a final boss for Miquella, but that's in the gameplay section. So that inherently is fucking terrible because you're shrinking the cast. You're also ruining the character of Radahn even more than what I've already described, because you know how everyone hates Mohg, or at least makes fun of Mohg for being a pedophile? Well, they actually just redeemed him by saying, no, Miquella wanted all of this and he planned all of this and he made Mohg do that. So they just took all of the bad things that Mohg did and just halved it right fucking down the middle. He's obviously still a fucking deviant piece of shit who hurts the Albinarics, but it's half the shit that people hated him for was his obsession with Miquella, but that was planned for by Miquella so he can get into the Shadow Tree. Which I'm not gonna call it the actual name of it, because the actual name of the Shadow Tree is fucking unpronounceable and a stupid word. Why did they go with that? But anyway, so you just remove that from Mohg, what made him the worst, and you put it on a character that people actually liked. You essentially turned Radahn not into an incestuous piece of shit, well, as previously it was seen that that was not the case, but also a pedophile. So you just ruined Radahn's character. Thanks FromSoft, and for fucking what? Not only that, I have some shit to talk about Miquella. Miquella was one of the only two good characters we had, because Ronnie was still a murderous asshole. Like, sure, she's your wife, I don't care. She still helped a lot with the Night of Black Knives, which for some reason sounds a lot like the Night of Long Knives, but I'm not getting into that. He still Godwyn killed, and at least was involved in that. And she still didn't really help Blythe out of not going insane. So, you know, she's still an uncaring asshole to some extent. She's just better than everyone because everyone sucks so bad. And the only exception we had was Godwyn, who's fucking dead, and Miquella, who was strange, because on one hand he seemed to care about people, on the other hand he seemed to not care about people. He seemed to be just using them. But then you turned him from that in-between grey into just, I don't care, I'm just gonna leave my love here in this random ass fucking cave, and I'm just gonna go full god evil mode. And that makes him really fucking boring and one-sided. It's just the greater will again. Why? It removes any complexity that could have been said that, oh, should you help Miquella? Should you not help Miquella? Because he's just another fucking god trying to control people. That kind of fucking sucks, doesn't it? Now, I think I said everything. I might put addendums into the comments, but yeah. So, effectively, you ruined 3 of the most important characters in lore for effectively no reason. Great, thank you FromSoft. Now, let's talk about the fight that exists currently. The first phase doesn't feel like Radahn at all. Not because he doesn't combo in this way, but because he doesn't feel like he's a mage anymore. Like, one of the coolest things about the first fight with Radahn is that he's a spell sword. He uses magic, but he also uses weapons just as much. That doesn't translate at all here. He has like 2 sorcery spells and 1 stuff he stole from Moog, which doesn't add anything to the fight and also looks stupid, because for Moog they did it correctly where the actual tracers that he leaves explode. For Radahn, there's just an unrelated explosion that is not in the tracers, so that's a fantastic design there, game. It shows how much you cared about Moog being there. I don't even know why they used Moog's body at all if they're not gonna make it do anything and relate to anything in any way. It doesn't even look like Moog, even in the fucking least. It looks like Godfrey who shat his pants, which to be honest is Radahn, but he wasn't as stupid before. So he doesn't feel like a spell sword anymore, which fucking sucks, because that was what made him cool. I also didn't like his regular fight, and they just exacerbated all of the issues that the base fight had. The part that he can combo you to death very easily, much worse. Like, one of the most telling thing is, because of the second phase, I was obviously summoning Mimic Tier. The only way to summon in this fight is to run away really fucking far away, which by the way, his attacks are deliberately made so they would raw catch you if you're trying to walk away from him. But you can't summon if you're next to him because none of his attacks leave you enough room to do so. Which fucking sucks when your justification so far for making stupidly powerful bosses, oh, you just summon. Then let me. For fuck's sake. And the first phase isn't even that bad. The first phase is kind of boring because it just feels like you mashed together Godfrey and Radahn and removed anything that was fun about either of those fights. And added nothing. And again, it's just Radahn again. So it's not even an original type of new play like Mesmer is, because Mesmer is fine. And then on top of that, there is the second phase, which instead of happening at half, so you know you can at least burst it down in any fucking way, shape or form. No, it happens at 3/4. So you have to fight him for double the time in the third phase than the first phase, which is just great when the second phase is the worst thing I've ever seen. Not like I could dissect moves if I would see them, but I'm gonna be honest, I fought the second phase like a minimum of 10 times and I've never been able to see anything because it's a giant fucking flashbang. Every move, I'm not joking, every single move has lightning strikes built into it. And that means you cannot fucking see what he's doing. Like, I'm sure I could dodge the attacks if I could fucking see them. Every attack is just white noise. You should call the fucking cancel police because my fucking screen is doing whiteface half the time. Who played that? And again, not again, for the first time, I'm pretty sure a lot of this DLC didn't get playtesting, and a lot of it did. I think Mesmer got a lot of playtesting, but I'm pretty sure this boss fight, and especially Gaius fucking no way Gaius got playtesting. No fucking way. The first attack Gaius does is basically undodgeable unless you exploit the terrain to dodge him, which that's not dodging, that's just exploiting the terrain that happened to be there. So I think it's the same thing, where FromSoft just didn't fucking playtest their final boss of the DLC properly, or every playtester just used fingerprint shield, because every single person who has beaten it has said that they have said, or I've seen them beat it with the most broken bullshit items in the game, like fingerprint shield, like the spiked glove things that deal obscene damage and stun damage, because I don't know. Every single person who I've seen bleed, and I was fighting it with the best holy armor I have, which it deals holy damage, obviously. And the best holy armor, I was fighting it with Bloodhound Fang. You know what Bloodhound Fang did to Mesmer and Moog? I killed Moog first try, and it's fucking melted Mesmer at like 10 or less Shadow Tree fragments. So, why the fuck is it dealing 0 goddamn damage, compared to a guy just punching him. Come on. I wouldn't be whining that much if not everyone who fucking did it didn't fight him properly, just cheesed him in one way. If your boss needs to be cheesed, then he needs to be changed. Now, there's other fuck-ups here, like, you know, the fact that they just remade Twin Princess just worst in every way, because Miquella is not, like, present at all. It's just Radahn again, but with no sight for you. So, like, say get good all you want, I'm not sure my eyes can get any better than they currently are. They're pretty fucking sensitive. I never thought I would be complaining for not visibility. I never thought I'd be complaining about accessibility because I've killed every single thing so far. But I am, because I can't fucking see the boss. Now, how I would fix this, and let's get back into that right now because I don't want to waste your time. The way you fix this is by removing this entire boss entirely and replacing it with Miquella. Only Miquella. One Miquella. It would be so much more interesting if we were actually fighting Miquella, because that means the puppet master has to come out of the shadows and personally deal with you. And for a character that has never dealt with anyone on his own, I would take a Zod fight where he is literally just beaten to death, punched to death over what we currently have, because at least that's narratively satisfying. This is neither. Now, if you want to do an actual fight, then here is my idea. Phase 1 is either Saint Trina or what I'm going to describe again. Saint Trina either has like a rapier or a short sword, and she wants to put you to death. Put you to sleep. She doesn't actually deal that much damage. She relies on spamming a lot of sleep and getting you to fall asleep. She will then do a critical strike to you, which is where most of her damage is. I don't think it should be an insta-kill, because she's gonna be probably doing it a lot while you get used to it. But that would be something that fits both Miquella and Saint Trina. She is non-direct, he is non-direct. He's gonna get you to sleep, and then when you're weak, that's when he's gonna put the knives in you. That's fitting for a character who isn't made for combat. And we have not had a sleep-based boss. And as annoying as it would probably be, it would be the first phase. It wouldn't last that long. Or the second phase. Now, the other phase is summons. You know how Elden Ring, one of the main things that Elden Ring has introduced was summons? What if that was what Miquella used? He gets to summon more and more people for one attack. It basically just imagine what he's in current phase, and he transforms into random summons for random attacks. He gets like a Millennia to charge at you with a grab attack. Then he turns into Moog and throws some blood flame at you. Then, I guess, fuck it, Radahn gets a swing into you. And he transforms between these things constantly, leaving just enough damage to punish every attack, or at least most of the attacks. And that would be so much more interesting, because that's who he is as a character. He uses other people, and it would be cool to have a boss that uses other people actually use them for one attack and then shift off of them, the way he discards people as he doesn't need anymore. That would be so narratively fitting, and it would be fitting to Elden Ring as well, which is so fucking based on people using summons that Millennia is extremely stupid if you don't. I beat a Millennia without any status effects, with a fucking holy weapon. She's hard, she's beatable, but I never learned how to dodge waterfowl then, so I had to use a shield. That wouldn't have happened if I needed to use a thing. A lot of people just need to use summons. So the final boss of the DLC, which is probably going to be the final DLC for Elden Ring, using summons against you would be really fucking cool as well. If we didn't get to use Torrent against the Elden Ring fight, despite really feeling built for it, then why don't you at least pay off the other mechanic that you introduced? Anyway, I just wanted to get that out of my system, because I really wanted to like this DLC, and to some extent I did, but Radahn just left a really, really bad taste in my mouth. Anyway, thank you for listening, and goodbye.